there's a slate or two of alternate electors, and the county attorney is dealing with alcoholism issues. There's a governor's race where guns have become a major focus, and we're here to talk about it. Normally, if we were just in the newsroom, I'd sit around with fellow reporters and we'd exchange what we're working on and maybe share some insights, and in my case, just some maybe bad puns and off-color jokes. But we'll try to replicate that here and share it with you. I'm Richard Ruelas, reporter at The Republic, and with me is Stacey Barchenger, who covers the governor's office. She's in the Capitol Bureau at the League of Cities and Towns Bureau, and Robert Anglen, who's been covering the county attorney's race. We'll start with you, Robert. I mean, like, this story started out with the county attorney battling a health issue, and now it's going to affect the death penalty?
Well, yeah. Well, it's a long and twisted road, and hopefully you don't need alcohol to follow it. But what's happened is Allister Adel in the summer said she had came forward she acknowledged publicly that she was seeking treatment for anxiety, alcohol abuse, and an eating disorder. But there was controversy tied to her announcement in that she was trying to keep it private, and she was forced to go public back then. She was in treatment for 13 days, and she checked herself out, said doctors had cleared her to go back to work. There was a lot of speculation and skepticism over that, over the speed of it. And now, about 4 or 5 months later, the office is in turmoil as employees say the work isn't getting done, their morale is at an all-time low, that she's impaired on the job and has been absent from work for weeks on end. And some of the people making these allegations put it in writing, and they are the top 5 division chiefs working under her. It would be like your top 5 leaders telling the boss that it ain't working.
And then this death penalty issue, I guess there's a thing in state law that says the county attorney has to actually be the one to sign off on pursuing the death penalty. And there's some defense attorneys questioning whether she in fact did it, or gave it to her underlings to do, or are they questioning whether she was sober when she signed those pieces of paper?
Both. So state law says that only the county attorney can sign off on a writ of death and make a decision to seek the death penalty. And defense attorneys are now coming forward in cases that the county attorney is charged, the county attorney's office is charged, and their Capitol Bureau is handling. And they are saying, we want evidence that A, you made the decision, or B, that you weren't impaired when you did it. The issue there is, of course, the allegation that she has been impaired while conducting county business, an allegation I should point out she denies.
I know you're going to stay on that. Let's travel to the State House. Stacey, the governor's race, Kari Lake has apparently a lifetime membership to the NRA. That's not the cable network. Apparently that's not some branding thing with the Lifetime Network. That's something to do with the time you're actually a member. What is the deal with Kari Lake's NRA membership?
Yeah, so just to rewind a little bit to how we even got to be talking about the NRA and guns. A couple of weeks ago, she tweeted she was a lifetime member of the National Rifle Association, which of course is a champion of the Second Amendment, very politically powerful organization. And one of her opponents, Matt Salmon, basically called her out on that, saying, that there are things she said in her past that don't support her Second Amendment beliefs that she is now touting. So I asked all of the GOP candidates to kind of prove their NRA credentials, and she was able to provide a membership card that celebrated the organization's 150th anniversary, which of course was last year. And so that is just something that I've been diving into this week.
Right, because you're a lifetime member. Once you join, you are a member for the rest of your lifetime, but it sort of connotes this idea that you've been a member for a really, really long time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So there's different membership levels, just like with, anything you can subscribe to. It seems like these days, you can get an annual membership. You can get what's called a life membership. As far as I can tell, there's not actually anything called a lifetime membership. So that's, maybe just some differences in how people talk about this. But a life membership is $1,500. You get a cool jacket, and you are a member for. It never expires.
And other stuff going on down there. You had a story about a 15-week ban. Past 15 weeks, there would be no abortion allowed unless there's a medical emergency. Is that seemed to be something that was going to be set to be in place should the Supreme Court make a decision on something, or is that going to be the law if Governor Ducey signs it?
Yeah, that's right. So the bill passed the Senate earlier this week. It still needs to work its way through the House, which is, controlled by Republicans as well. So I anticipate it has the signatures to pass, which means that it would end up on the governor's desk. And he proudly touts his legacy on abortion. So I imagine it would get a signature there as well. But I guess, Richard, I would love to talk to you a little bit. You've been down here around the State House for what seems like a new beat of yours in the last couple of weeks, chasing down these fake electors. What's the latest with that?
Yeah, I was actually in the Capitol press room. I missed you. I was down there this week and I missed you.
Oh.
It's a story that I guess is just, we've covered piecemeal from when it happened. It's just getting new traction, new importance now. Back in December, even though Trump lost Arizona, the electors that would have cast their electoral ballots for Trump had he won met anyway and sent those votes to the U.S. Senate to be opened by Vice President Mike Pence and counted. And now that action has been investigated by the January 6th Commission, which is starting to subpoena a lot of people. They've subpoenaed now 3 people who've signed that fake certificate, and they subpoenaed Mark Fincham, who's a representative. So I was down there yesterday trying to get a comment from Mark Fincham. He gave me a no comment that I waited around for a while to get, and then tried to speak again to Representative Jake Hoffman, who also, he at least used my name when he said he wouldn't speak to me, so he knows who I am, which I thought was good. But Jake Hoffman, it turns out, wrote a letter on January 5th asking Mike Pence, as representative-elect, I'm going to take office soon, please don't count Arizona's votes. And I guess the importance of that is it shows that, at the time that they did this, we covered it as if it was just sort of something they were doing as a ceremonial thing, just to sort of make themselves feel better, almost, is how the story came out. We didn't realize this was part of an orchestrated plan. And Jake Hoffman's letter to Vice President Pence sort of showed they really meant for this to work. At least Hoffman thought by having this alternate slate of electors there, maybe Pence can, when he gets to Arizona, throw up his hands and say, I don't know which of these slates of electors to count, so I'm not going to count either one, or throw it back to the state. So yes, it has been something that I've been watching, kind of stumbled into covering it over the last few weeks, and we'll see where it leads.
Well, I thought the great part about your story this morning was that he put a state seal on his letterhead. He hadn't yet taken office, but he was claiming he was the representative. There's all these things that how he used the Capitol as a return address, but he hadn't officially been sworn into office. I thought that was fascinating.
It's a weird quirk of the story, and it's one of those things that's probably better talked about out loud than written down in paragraph form. But to be an elector, you can't be an elected official. You have to be just, like Kelly Ward, head of the GOP party, or a lot of these people are heavy donors to the party, operatives. But you can't be an elected official and be an elector. So he was in that weird gap where he wasn't an elected official yet, but he was an elector, and he felt he could use the letterhead, use that state seal and the title. He was the only one of the Arizona electors who could do that and really give that official imprimatur to what he was trying to do.
What are the consequences for this? Do we know? Like, there's other states where there were fake electors as well, right? Like, what's going on there?
Right. Arizona was one of 7 states that put up an alternate slate of electors that had Republicans send 2 slates. Actually, because Arizona always has to be different, we sent up 2 alternate slates of electors. There was a competing GOP alternate elector slate that the Kelly Ward slate, the official GOPs were saying, like, no, ignore them. We're the real unofficial alternate electors. I really don't know what the penalties would be. Would this constitute federal fraud? Was the idea that Mike Pence would look at the certificate and think this must be real? I can act on this? I guess you'd have to really, and I haven't frankly parsed through them, read the federal statutes to see what constitutes what crime here. Definitely there could be, because everyone's been subpoenaed, they could be held in contempt of this House Select Committee if they don't provide the documents or testify as they've been asked to by this committee. So we'll see what comes of that, as we will with all of our beats, the governor's race, the Allister Adel drama, and I'm sure we'll convene back at some point to talk about it all. Thanks for joining us, Stacey. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks.
Thank you.